Cuba. Just the name conjures up romantic images. A Caribbean island nation, sun-drenched beaches, vintage American cars gleaming in the sun, beautiful people swaying to the infectious rhythm of salsa music. But Cuba is more than just a postcard image. It is a country with a rich history and culture, a place where the past and present collide. I've always been fascinated. Cuba, as an American, was out of reach for most of my life. But now, with the thaw in relations, it was finally possible to go. My first impressions of Cuba were sensory overload. The sights, the sounds, the smells. It was like stepping into a time machine. Havana especially felt frozen in time. Grand colonial buildings, crumbling but still beautiful, lined the streets. Classic American cars from the 50s, held together with duct tape and ingenuity, cruised the Malecón. The air was heavy with the scent of brown cigar smoke and tropical flowers. Everywhere I looked, people were interacting in ways that seemed lost in other parts of the world, sitting in driveways, playing dominoes, chatting with neighbors. Life moved at a slower pace here. I visited Revolution Square, a vast plaza dominated by an imposing monument to José Martí. It was here that Fidel Castro delivered his fiery speeches to the masses. The sheer scale of the place was breathtaking. You could almost feel the echoes of history resonating around you. It was also a country with a rich cultural heritage. The place was packed with locals, the air heavy with cigar smoke and the sweet scent of rum. A band played a soulful sun. The music washed over me like a warm wave. Couples moved together in perfect harmony. Their bodies spoke a language I could only dream of understanding. One of the things that surprised me most about Cuba was how easy it was to connect with the people. Despite the language barrier, my Spanish was rusty at best. Cubans had a way of making you feel welcome. Maybe it was the warmth of their smiles or the way they looked you in the eye when talking. Whatever it was, I found myself striking up conversations wherever I went. I'll never forget the afternoon I met Miguel. I was wandering through the back streets of Havana, lost in a maze of colorful buildings, when I stumbled upon a small courtyard. In the center, a group of men were huddled around a game of dominoes, their faces etched with concentration. Miguel, noticing my interest, gestured for me to come closer. One afternoon, I found myself needing a haircut. I'd been wandering the streets of Trinidad, a beautifully preserved colonial city, when I came across a barbershop. Or rather, what passed for a barbershop in Cuba was little more than a rickety chair perched on wax, a faded mirror leaning against a wall. The barber, a thin old man with a mischievous twinkle in his eye, was busy shaving another customer. As a tourist, it was easy to get caught up in the romanticism of Cuba. The vintage cars, the crumbling colonial architecture, the music and dancing. But it was important to remember that Cuba was more than just a tourist destination. It was a country with a complex history and a resilient people who had faced their share of challenges. What struck me most about the Cubans I met was their spirit. Despite the difficulties they faced, they had a zest for life that was infectious. They found joy in the simplest things: music, dancing, spending time with family and friends. They were also very proud of their culture and heritage and were determined to preserve it in the face of external pressure. One evening I was invited to a party at a casa particular in Havana. The house, a beautifully restored colonial mansion, was filled with the sounds of laughter and music. The guests, a mix of locals and tourists, spilled onto the balcony, sipping rum and moving to salsa music. As the night wore on, the music got louder, the dancing more frenetic. It was a celebration of life, a defiant act of joy in the face of adversity. I swam in the warm sea. The architecture of Cuba was a testament to its rich and tumultuous history. Grand colonial mansions, their facades adorned with intricate balconies and wrought iron grills, rubbed shoulders with crumbling tenement buildings, their pastel walls bleached by the relentless Caribbean sun. Soviet-era apartment blocks, their concrete facades austere and utilitarian, stood high above narrow cobblestone streets in Havana. But it was the smallest details that captivated me the most. To truly understand Cuba, I knew I had to venture beyond the capital. The journey was an adventure in itself. The roads were bumpy, the traffic chaotic. Horse-drawn carts shared the road with vintage American cars and the occasional Soviet-era truck. But the scenery was stunning. Lush tobacco fields gave way to rolling hills and towering mountains. Leaving Cuba was bittersweet. I felt a palpable relief when the plane lifted off the runway, a feeling I usually experience after immersive trips. But this time it was intertwined with a profound sense of loss. I left a part of me in Cuba, a piece of my heart tangled in the rhythm of Havana's streets, the warmth of its people, and the faded grandeur of its history. Back in my routine, surrounded by the familiar hum of modern life, Cuba felt like a dream. The vivid colors, the intoxicating music, the faces marked by resilience and hope, everything seemed to belong to a distant, almost mythical place. Yet the experience lingered, a constant aftertaste that colored my perspective. The pace of life, once jarring in its slowness, now felt strangely comforting. The constant hum of progress in my own world seemed excessive, almost vulgar, compared to the quiet dignity of Cuban life lived amidst scarcity. I found myself yearning for the simplicity of human connection I had found, the genuine warmth that transcended language barriers and political complexities. Cuba had awakened in me a longing, a nostalgia for a connection, deeper with life, with history, and with the human spirit's ability to endure and even thrive in the midst of adversity. It made me question my own definitions of progress and freedom, revealing the subtle chains of convenience and consumerism that often bind us. I came away with a new appreciation for the resilience of the Cuban people, their ability to find joy in the face of hardship. Their unbreakable spirit to preserve their culture and identity was a powerful reminder that true freedom lies not in the abundance of material possessions, but in the richness of human connection, the strength of community, and the unbreakable spirit of hope. The echoes of Cuba linger in my memory, a stirring melody composed of laughter, music, and the rhythmic clatter of dominoes is a reminder to savor life's simple pleasures, to embrace the beauty of human connection, and to find inspiration in the enduring spirit of those who have learned to dance resiliently in the face of life's challenges. Cuba, for me, will always remain a vibrant tapestry woven with history, culture, and the indomitable spirit of its people. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, share it with others, and subscribe to Beyond Borders. Your support helps us bring you more eye-opening content like this. See you in the next one.